If you spend more than a few hours at your desk each day, then the way that you set up your desk can be the difference between ending your day in pain or pain-free. This can be so easily avoided by simply following these 4 essential steps that I'm about to go through now in this video. Let's begin. Hello, my name's Dr. Stephen. I'm a chiropractor based in Reading, and this video is going to be about how to optimize your desk, because this is certainly something that I go through with patients regularly every single day, several times a day. And because it's so vital, if I'm treating someone for, say, headaches or neck pain, and we don't address the thing that causes it, and in this case quite often it's the desk posture, then we are just wasting our time in the office. And so it's much more beneficial to correct the desk posture than it would even to be treating the spine. And obviously doing both at the same time is going to get the best results. But even by doing this alone, you're going to see great results by the end. Make sure you stick to the end, because I'm going to go through my top 2 exercises that you can do throughout the day while you're sitting at your desk to give you further relief from any pains that you may get towards the end of the day. Now, the first thing you have to do is ensure that you position yourself first. Most people position their desk and their computer and then they position themselves. But this is the wrong way around to do it. You want to make sure you're in good posture. And if you want to find out specifically how to get into a good posture, then check out my video here. So you want to imagine there's a string and it's attached onto your chest and it's pulling you up to the ceiling. That's going to bring your chest up and out. And then you want to bring your shoulders back and down and then balance your head over your spine. Once you're in this position, that's when you should go through these 4 steps that I'm about to go through to optimize your desk. So the first thing you want to do is we want to start with the chair. You want to make sure that your knees are positioned 90 degrees or preferably slanting slightly downwards. What this will do is ensure that the force that's going down your spine isn't stopping at your spine, and therefore all the force being taken by your low back, but the force can actually be dissipated slightly down your legs. And so the further that you have your knees pointing down to the floor, the more that this force will dissipate down your legs and you'll get less pressure throughout your spine. The worst position is when your knees are pointing up, which is sometimes the position that you can get into when you're in the car. And this is really bad because all the force is going to go into the low back. So make sure you're not in this position, which will mean that you need to make sure that the chair is high enough. What you can also do to ensure that your knees are pointing down, or to get more of an angle with your knees, is that you can get one of these slanted foam cushions that you place on the chair, and this will then help to give this angle. And now you can see when I'm sitting in this position, my knees are slanted downwards. It's quite weird when you first sit on these foam cushions, but they are quite useful and do definitely help to dissipate that force in the spine. The second thing then, what you're going to do is ensure that you're looking at the top third of your screen. So you want to make sure first that you're in this good position, and then you need to adjust the screen so that when you're in this position, you're looking at the top third. So if you can't raise the screen by itself to the right position, you're going to have to put something underneath it. Here I have a monitor stand, which I think looks quite nice, but also means that I can put my keyboard underneath it, so it actually keeps the desk nice and neat. But I've got it nice and high here, so you can see when I'm looking straight ahead, I'm looking at that top third. The worst thing you can do here is have your screen at the wrong height. Quite typically people don't have it high enough, which means then you're looking down all the time, which increases this hunch and forward posture, this forward head posture, which will put pressure on the spine, the neck and the neck muscles, which will eventually lead to back pain, neck ache and headaches. The third thing you're going to want to do then is ensure that your elbows are resting on the table. You don't want your wrist resting on the table. You don't want the table to stop at your wrists. The reason why is that if you have your elbows hanging in the air, what you're going to end up doing is contracting your upper traps, the muscles that go over the top of your shoulders here, and which is going to put a lot of tension through that muscle. And if you're doing that for hours every single day, that muscle is eventually going to get very tight and fatigued, and you're going to eventually get some pain within that area, within the neck, and this can also refer into the head and cause headaches. So you want to make sure that you're resting your elbows on the table, which will mean that you need to make sure that your mouse and your keyboard are in the right position so that you can actually do this. Step 4, and this is probably going to be the most important step, and that's to take breaks regularly. The body is not designed to stay in one position for too long. We are designed to move, which is why we have so many joints and muscles on our bodies. I would advise that you move anywhere between 30 and 60 minutes. However, if you suffer with backaches or headaches or anything while sitting at the desk, I would actually reduce this to around 20 minutes or maybe even 15. Essentially, the more that you can get up, the better. But I do know this can be a bit difficult practically, particularly if you've got calls, video calls, anything like that, where you have to be on those calls for an hour, hour and a half at a time. That can be difficult, but you just got to work out what you can achieve and how regularly you can get up. And even if it's a 1 minute break to go get some water or go to the loo, it's much better than nothing. By the way, if you are new here, please do consider subscribing for new videos like this one twice a week. I'm passionate about helping people to optimize their health and living pain-free lives. If you're working from a laptop, I would advise that you do one of two things. Either that you buy a monitor that you can position separately to your keyboard, or you buy a stand for the laptop as well as a keyboard and mouse so that you can position your laptop screen at the right height and then put the mouse and keyboard at their right height. The problem with working from a laptop is that you can't position the screen and the keyboard and the mouse all separately, which means that you end up looking down and end up in this really bad hunched position. So if you can, I would highly advise you get a monitor or a laptop stand. Usually getting a monitor is more preferable because then you can get a better quality screen and a bigger screen. If you're working from two monitors, then my advice will very much depend on how you're using those monitors. If you're using predominantly one monitor, so the majority of the time you're looking at one monitor, then I would have this monitor in the middle and then the other monitor off to one side. If you use two monitors equally, then I would have them both off to one side so that throughout the day you're actually looking to the right and to the left fairly equally. What you don't want is to be looking to one side for a long period of time, because that's going to put more stress through the joints and the muscles and the ligaments of your neck. If you're going to be in one position, you want to be in neutral. So you want to stay as forward as possible, but if you're going to be looking to the sides, then you want to make sure that's equal. And then lastly, as promised, I'm going to go through two of my best exercises that you can do throughout the day to reverse this forward posture and to try and get yourself more into this upright posture and maintain that throughout the day. So the first one's going to be the easiest one to do. You can do this within the chair, and that's called a Bruggers Relief. You're going to sit in the chair, put your elbows by the side and turn your wrists outwards, and then you're going to stick your chest out. So you imagine there's a string on your chest and it's pulling you up, and then balance your head over your shoulders. You can then hold that position for around 20 or 30 seconds, and then you can repeat that fairly often throughout the day. You can do this as often as you can, and because it's really short and easy, this is actually a really practical one to do throughout the day. The second one is a little bit less practical, but probably the better one to do, and that's to get a core roller, a foam roller, which is about 90 centimeters high. You don't want it the 60 centimeter one. Most people tend to have the 60 centimeter one, but this one you want to go along the entire spine from your head to your tailbone, and then you want to lay it on the floor, lie onto it with your knees bent so your feet are flat on the floor, and then you want to extend your elbows and then bring your arms up until you find a position that stretches the front of your chest. The idea here is that the core roll is going to lift your spine up so that by natural gravity your shoulders are going to be relaxed downwards. This will then open up the chest and stretch the front and align the spine and get everything in a nice position, which is going to reverse the posture that you tend to be while you're working at the computer. So there are my two best exercises that you can do. I would do the core roller twice a day and lie there around 10 minutes, and the Bruggers Relief one you can do every 1 to 2 hours or as regularly as you would like. So I hope that's helpful. Please do like the video if you found some value from it, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Bye bye.